Right, so today we're going to do a deep dive on this morning thought, it's called. This is from a coach named Zibu,
Okay.
and it's all about laws and principles of life,
Okay.
specifically how these play out in our interactions, in our human interactions.
Yeah, that's a good one. I mean, people are always looking for those like principles, right? To
Yeah.
kind of.
I mean, it's a big topic, right?
It is, yeah. It's one of those evergreen topics, right? It's always relevant.
Well, that's what, I mean, when I first read this, I was like, whoa, hold on. Zibu? Let's unpack this a little bit, but it definitely got me thinking. So
Yeah.
hopefully it'll get you thinking too. So what jumped out at you in this morning thought?
Well, I think one of the core things that Zebu's focusing on here is this principle of interdependence.
Okay.
Like this idea that we actually need each other.
Okay.
And that's regardless of whether we particularly like each other or not. So
So this is not like the warm, fuzzy, like community vibe.
Yeah.
We're not talking about that.
no, this is deeper than that.
Okay.
This is like, he uses this analogy of gravity.
Oh, okay.
He's like, look, just because you don't like gravity
Right.
doesn't mean you're suddenly immune to it.
Yeah. No, that's a good one.
So
Yeah. So what are some of those gravities then that we might be like fighting against when it comes to human connection?
oh, that's a good question. I think a lot of times we are,
Yeah.
think about it, we have a disagreement with someone or we feel hurt or offended or whatever. What's the natural tendency? Isolate,
Yeah.
right? Pull away. Like I can do it myself. I can figure it out on my own.
Yeah. Be independent.
Right. But that is, I think, in a sense, that's fighting gravity
Yeah.
because we are wired for connection.
Right.
And we actually need others to help us process, to help us grow.
Yeah.
I would even say to help us to function,
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, we all know, I think deep down, we all know that we're better together, right?
Totally.
Uh,
And it's like defying the natural order of things.
totally.
And so, friction happens. Things get weird.
Exactly. And you see this,
Yeah.
I mean, and this, this concept of interdependence, it scales up, right? It's not just me and you or,
Right.
husband, wife, friends, whatever. But
Yeah.
you think about society as a whole.
Right.
Think about global issues like climate change.
Right.
People will say, oh, technology can solve all these problems. And, I think technology can help. But if we don't actually acknowledge our interdependence and cooperate
Right.
on a global scale, those solutions aren't going to get very far.
That's true.
Because, at the end of the day, we're all in this together.
Totally. Now, hold on a second, though. So Zebu's calling these things like laws and principles of life.
Right.
Like, what does that even mean? What is he talking about?
Yeah.
Is there like a cosmic rule book that we're all bound to, or?
I don't think it's necessarily like a rule book, set in stone, but it does seem like what he's getting at is that there are these kind of fundamental truths about
Okay.
human existence, that operate regardless of our opinions or preferences. They're not necessarily written down somewhere, but you see them at play
Right.
in how we interact, in how societies
Yeah.
function. It's almost like, you
Yeah.
could almost say it's like the laws of physics, but for human relationship.
Right. Okay. So like whether or not we like it, whether or not we agree,
Yeah,
these things are in play.
exactly. We can't just wish them away.
Yeah.
So that has, I think, really huge implications for how we approach things.
Right.
Zibu, he talks about a coaching journey towards greatness, right? And so the question is embracing this principle of interdependence,
Yeah.
as challenging as that might be sometimes, is that actually the key to unlocking that potential,
Yeah.
both individually and collectively?
That's a big question.
Yeah, it is a big question.
I mean, now he's using some really positive hashtags, right? Like hashtag togetherness, hashtag we need each other.
Sure.
But I mean, I think we have to acknowledge that there's another side to this, right?
Yeah.
Like, doesn't our reliance on each other also create
Yeah.
opportunities for, I don't know, not so great things to happen?
Yeah, you're hitting on a crucial point here.
All right,
I mean, just because we need each other
Yeah.
doesn't mean those needs are always expressed in healthy ways.
Right. Yeah.
Right. I mean, think about codependent relationships where,
Yeah.
people's sense of self gets so intertwined and,
Yeah.
they lose themselves in the other person.
Mhm.
Or how about groupthink, right? Where
Oh, yeah.
the need to belong
Totally.
actually suppresses dissenting voices.
Yeah. Okay. So it sounds like what we're saying is that understanding our need for each other
Yeah.
is really important, but we also have to be,
Yeah.
I guess, aware of the
Exactly.
potential pitfalls
Yep.
and how to make sure those needs are being met in healthy ways.
Exactly. I think it's about recognizing and navigating, the complexities of interdependence.
Right.
Because it's not always simple,
Right.
right?
Definitely not.
We have to be mindful, right? We have to be mindful of how our need to belong, our need to be accepted can be used.
Yeah.
And it can be used by ourselves and by others in ways that can ultimately be harmful.
Right.
So awareness is key.
This has been really insightful.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you diving in with me on this.
Of course. My pleasure.
Hope everybody listening out there, this has given you something to think about.
Yeah.
But basically, we've been talking about this concept of interdependence,
Right.
Like we need each other, even if we don't always like each other.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, a powerful truth. It's a powerful reality that has implications, in our personal lives,
For sure.
in our communities.
Absolutely.
Even on a global scale, like you were saying.
Yeah, it impacts everything.
And I think that is something that, I don't know, it's food for thought, right?
It is, yeah. It leaves us with, I think, kind of a final question to ponder here.
No.
Zibu talks about this as being a journey towards greatness.
Yeah.
Right? So could understanding and embracing this principle of interdependence, this need that we all have, could that actually be a crucial step on that path to greatness? Why or why not? What do you think?
Yeah, that's a great question for everybody to ponder.
To reflect on.
All right. Well, thank you for listening.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And we will see you next time
See you later.
on The Deep Dive.
Bye.